Hello again. It's Mark with Not Square Design in Butte, Montana. And here's my regular contact information there on the screen. You can save that if you'd like, or pause for a second if you have anything that you need to get a hold of me for. Now I got my little cursor on here and something in front of a sheet there. So this lesson is going to be about going through checking out the details that are up to date, seeing if one with the current line styles and stuff that I'm using is ready for use, or if it needs to be customized. Then we're going to place it in the plotting drawing and show that's done, so that we can put it in the proper sheet that we'd like, and be doing that through an XREF to the plotting. But because I do customize each detail for our projects, I copy them into a folder from the main set. So I've been teaching this stuff for years, and one thing about this plotting drawing is that you you get to review other people's drawings without having to interrupt their work. It's a really cool tool. So there's more information about how that's done here. And one thing about it is if people do save often, that's the big deal with AutoCAD, save all the time. And then what we're going to do is I need to pin the common foundation walls together from the existing building and the new building. So some customization of the detail may be necessary due to the wall thickness. So what I have is I've got the way that I organize things in my SharePoint is I've got administrative stuff, my projects and stuff, and then my support. And inside support, I have support for AutoCAD, which includes blocks and details. I call them evolving because these are the ones that are continuously being updated. So it is the current stuff. And then we'll look into foundation details. I like to use this side to scroll down with the chevrons and then pop into that foundation detail and then look for a pin. There we go. Pin and epoxy footing. So let's open that up and see what it looks like. And it's doing it down at the footing. In our, those are the section bubbles. We did that last lesson. So I want to go, let's go to the plotting drawing. It's probably in the right sheet. It is. So here, this is the existing building. The existing foundation is gigantic. And I need to pin it through here. We're not putting another footing next to a footing, so I need to pin it through here. So we're going to just customize it a little bit to make it fit that situation. And then find the appropriate place to put it. And this this foundation is going to have to be changed a little bit. So this is typical, unless noted otherwise, because on the back side of this building, there's a lot of retaining and a little bit along this side of the wall. So we have some other custom details that are coming along with this. So I might start seeing what I can stack, because I think the next one I can stack, I might have to renumber if I care. So I do like to try and keep it as 1, 2, 3, 4 on down the line. But if this has to move to that side and another one to be able to get one, possibly 2 more in here, and they're out of order, it's not that big of a deal. And so first let's just take that and do a save as. And I'm going to put it into the project itself. And so I want to be in here, and we want to be in our AutoCAD stuff. And I need to actually create a folder real quick for lesson 3 that we're on. And so I'm going to do that real quick. But since I'm in this portion right here, I'm just going to use this tool, add current folder to places. It puts it up here, and I'll just drag it down to right here. And that way I can pop in and out of it. And then you right click it and remove it, put it back. Whatever you're working on currently, you can get to real quick. So let me get that folder made so we can proceed. And so now I should be ready. So just do save as. Save as. We gotta navigate our way there. So we're gonna go straight here. Lesson 3 into our details and pin and epoxy. And I'm gonna change the way that this even reads. It's gonna say stem wall. And save it. And so down here we want to make this say, of course, is an attribute. And so we're going to say pin and epoxy, caps lock, stem wall. Say OK. And I think we might be able to fit it on that same sheet. So got a whole lot of room up here, that's for sure. So, and that's not updated to where it usually is. Doesn't matter if it's on. I think that's probably the junk layers. Oh, it's layout aids. Either way, that won't print, so it's fine. What I want to do is move this up, and I'm going to show the footing just coming through more like it is, and we can grab that out of the working drawing. And so if I grab that guy, and let's just grab these slabs. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-C, just grab it there. Then I'll come back to my footing detail, Control-V, and we'll drop it in, there-ish. And this should all be 2 scales, so I'm not too concerned about that. Now it's going to be wider, but our notes and stuff should all fit up here. So what I'm interested in is grabbing this stuff and putting it in the other portion and then seeing if 30 bar diameters is going to fit in this wall. And I can almost tell right now it's not going to. So we're probably going to have to split the difference a little bit, cut this down, and maybe just add another one above it. So I'm going to move this guy and that one from here. And for right now, we'll drop one in the middle, and then we'll have to figure out some decent spacing. So if we go down towards the bottom, let's take this down to 20 bar diameters. We're using number 4, so that's a ½ inch, so it's 10 inches. And what's our distance here? We got 12 inches, so it'll be almost all the way through that. So we may even take that a little further down. Here, we're going to be pouring another 12-incher just so we've got enough to attach these two. It's pretty much overkill for holding the building, but we need some way to tie these two together without just poking holes through it. Or maybe even reduce it a little if we were to say if we use this 4-inch, and let's see how this is drawn. Looks greater to me. Yeah, 6 and an 8, but it's probably for hydraulic lock. This is showing 5 inches in, so it's overdrawn as it is. And then we'll bring this down so that I've got an offset of, I said that was going to be offset 10, which is pretty far in, but it gives us a good bite because where we're having it stick out and it's embedding into the concrete, that's new pour, this will be flipped. So the epoxy is going to be over here. So that's where we want to drill nice and far. In fact, I'm going to have to pull that back. So let's mirror this. And we'll go ahead and mirror the notes and new AutoCAD stuff. This works pretty nicely. And so now we've got that looking more like what we're dealing with. Good, our leader stayed associated. That's always nice. So this allows them to drill in and then have a minimum of 4-inch embedment. And we're going to just duplicate this up so that our diameter, our 20 bar diameters doesn't poke all the way through. We got 2 inches of cover still. It's nice to have 3, but the 20 is also a really nice number. So let's take and move this. I had that chosen, so we got to unselect it. Move all of this. And we're going to move it down to the bottom. And then we're going to move it again. So previous from here, and we'll go up. And let's get it a good 8 inches off the bottom. So they've got some ease of getting at that. And then we can copy this up. What do we got to where we're looking pretty good in here? This is not an exact science, but let's go up another 12. And there's that copy. So now I can take this note. We'll just bring it up. Bring this to there. And that to there. And that should describe what we're doing quite well. Now, I don't know if I like this the way it looks. So I'll check the properties on it because I have a feeling no leader. So I'm going to change the fit to add leader. And now I can take and move it out to where it's not going to be in this and have a print issue. So I want to go to my blocks, check my recents because I have recently, no, not in this drawing though. So library, oh, there's break lines right there. And I want the small one, but we'll just scale this one down. Scale that down. 0.25. Oops. 5. Don't need a very big one. And we'll rotate it. And I kind of like them angled. I think they read more clear. That fits in there very nicely. We can copy that over here. Keep our details short. And we'll trim. Missed it. Maybe not. Okay, just didn't look selected. But apparently it was. So we have this reverse too. So mirror it. Say yes to erase the old one. And then we'll leave that break line there. And I'm going to get rid of this stuff. And then we can even really get rid of. I might have a nice reference though. Let's get a reference in here. X line. Oh, I'm on my D object layer. I always like to kind of work in my. Oh, looks like my layer set's fairly reduced. Well, there's not much here. I'm going to add that layer in real quick then. I'm not doing a good job here. New. Okay, this is G. Oops, I probably had my caps lock already on. And then we change its color to 12. So it matches all my other stuff. And then we'll make that one curve. Now, XLH. Drop that in there. And we'll move that up to there. Now, whatever we do, we can just transfer that over to here. So let's just take this and move it just up and out of the way. Oh, it stayed there. Okay. For some reason, I didn't grab the hatch. Probably because the way I selected that must have been, yeah, it is one piece of hatch. Okay. So I actually can move this too, because it's not going to fit, but I want to keep the pattern. So when I hatch it, I just have to bring it back in. So now we're going to move this from here on over. And I don't think we're going to need a break line. And boy, that looks pretty good. Oops. Undo. We didn't get our text there. Just come on over. I didn't need to put that X line in there, to be honest. If I could bring it down closer. This is only a detail about epoxying this in. Looks like I've got my notes out too far. So now that I can see it, we'll move it back a little. Out there. Then we got to move this guy. Make sure I got that line from here up to there. Now, I don't need that. It's got that with it. Don't need that. So what I want to do is show the dirt and stuff that's in here. And if I do an SPL, we're on that junk layer still. And then this helps you freehand a little better if you just do this and type NEA for near. Start up here somewhere and just start to draw. And the hatch goes around text nowadays. Didn't used to. We used to have to do a lot of work to make it look good. But they have definitely made some pretty nice improvements to this. And we're going to need our aggregate base. So let's offset 4 and then extend to here. This side's not heated, so I don't have to worry too much about insulating under the slab, which is a big deal around here. Now let's extend out to that and grab all these guys. And then we'll take and match properties, that, and then we need to drag this up a little bit. Beyond it's kind of nice. Just hatch can be finicky. So we're going to hatch this guy. Then we're going to hatch this guy separately. And then we're going to hatch this separately. So I'm going to match properties here. And then I'm going to match properties here. And then I probably need to just pick a different hatch. So let's move it to our dehatched layer. And what would be good? What would be good? This is just a matter of taste, really, because we're not having to worry too much. If I make that big enough, let's try 24. That's not big enough for my sake here. I don't want it to be one of the, it should be kind of more of a background deal. In fact, there's another way. I wonder if I have that layer on here. I have de-object light, which would be the same color. So I'm going to, since I don't want to add the de-hatched light layer, we're just going to move this to de-object light, and it'll actually print as a halftone. So it'll really kind of fade into being the background of this thing. And let's take this, because I am going to put aggregate coarse base. The sand is what I usually use in here. So hatch, and then I can MHE there to there. Now it's on the right layer. So now I just want to pick my AR sand. Drop that in there. This is too large. Try a 6 maybe. Still too big. 1, I guess. There we go. Close the hatch editor. And we've got a detail. Now, we'll have to look real quick. We may as well change that while we're here. So I'll go to my plotting drawing, and we're going to fit it here nicely and move this down, and then maybe I've got 3 foundation details, so we'll see if we want to put them in there or not. But for the moment, I want to go to my model space. Here's my details, and they're not in any specific place. So they're just kind of grouped together. There's a whole lot on this. Everything that gets plotted is in here. So I'm gonna XREF details 1, which means that they are foundation. Details 2 is for framing. And then I need to go here, attach. We're in lesson 5. Oh, wrong project. And lesson 3, details. And there's our pin and epoxy. And you can see it's the old one, so it's going to be too tall. Open. See, okay. And we'll just drop it in here. And now, what's going on here? That sure looks all messed up. I'll have to go in and see which one of these details. That one looks like it's this guy is the culprit. Yeah, it's just the note got put in twice somehow, so I'll have to go look at that detail and see what's going on. And this one just needs to be updated, so it looks like what I didn't do when I was done here. I'll zoom extents because we'll get rid of this. Zoom extents, make it nice and large when you're looking for it in your little thumbnails. Say save, and we didn't go look at what sheet though. There it is on section AA, so that's S3. That's where we're going to put it. So let's come in here, change that to read S 3.0, and we are now ready to save it. Now if we go back to our plotting drawing, external reference, that needs update, that needs update. Reload those, there we go. Now it's just putting it into the sheet itself, and that's pretty straightforward. So I want to find the tab, which is this guy, and then we'll just copy this guy, and we'll go. Oh, I turned off my snaps of stuff to do that spline. We'll put that there. Now I got room to work. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure that I've got enough room in here for the detail we just created, or hope we have enough room. Sometimes I got to do a little adjusting. Then we'll come in on this guy, and then let's get it to the 3/4 scale. And there she is. Now we got plenty of room. So I can pan it up, get it in place. If I need to make more room later, I will do so. Come out. Once you're done with pan, you got to hit the space bar or escape, and then double click outside. You got your detail in place. So that's in place. And there's that crazy note coming across from over here. So this is detail 1. And that is the typical interior footing. So we're going to go open that guy. And in the right string, we are lesson 3. So, interior, where are you? Being silty, turn down. There it is, interior bearing. Let's open that. Zoom out. Let's get rid of this duplicate. Zoom extents. Save it. You can close it. Close that guy. I don't need this anymore. And then we'll go back to our plotting drawing, go to our external references, and That guy couldn't have updated by itself. I can still see something, and there's the note. So, interior, and reload. And it got rid of that crazy note. So, that did work out. Look for a minute like it might not. All right, so this is saved. And that's basically what we needed to do to customize that footing detail for pinning the epoxy, pin and epoxy. And what's important about this is this portion and having that 4 inches. And I always show it over drilled, because if you don't over drill it and then you try and get that in there, and you get a bunch of epoxy in here and you try and push this in and the hole's tight, as it should be tight. It's drawn big here to be clear, but they're usually pretty tight. And then you get hydraulic lock and you can't push this in far enough. So we'll mark the bar to make sure that we get that 4 inches of embedment. If we go a little further, we will, but get at least to that mark that you put on there for 4 inches. What I don't like about this is you can even see this blue. I know what it's like, and it's a little heavier than another line style that I have. I'm going to go back and I'm going to reopen that pin and epoxy. I'm going to have to add a layer again. So we'll add, yeah, it's not here. So it's called D-Object Thin. So I'm going to do a new layer. This is D-Object-Thin. It does a real thin line when I change this to 60. I'm an old school, I plot with line weight. Makes my drawings easier to read than having polylines with width, except on rebar. I think that's the only exception, maybe with the exception of some of the bubbles. But so that's, oh, I'm going to change it though. Let's take this, and switch it to the object thin, and that will plot much nicer. Save that, or make these lines further apart by increasing the scale. That might even be necessary. Depends on how big this is. Let's at least decrease it up to maybe a 3. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, that looks. I'm just a little concerned that that's not going to plot well. So don't want it to turn into a blob. So saving it, back out. Go to my plotting. XREF was modified. There it is. It's gold. And our sheet is looking better. So that's what I do to get details and stuff into my individual sheets. You can see in this is all of the sheets that they are at this current state. So on to the next one. Catch you next time. Again, this is Mark Farrar with Not Squared Design. And do appreciate you guys liking these videos if you get something out of it. And if you plan on coming back, please subscribe. I'm getting some followers, so that's good news to me, and it keeps me wanting to keep going. All right. Well, next time then. Bye for now.